Hi, this is Catherine Bird. I train and mentor healing and spiritual practitioners, empaths, all those that are on the path of service, coaches, therapists, all you guys out there. So if this is you, if you feel like you're sensitive and of service, then you're in the right place. This is a video for you about how the empath tools that we're using are actually not helping our spiritual personal development, and how that we can choose something else, right? So we are looking at our overwhelm, right? So we have overwhelm at being a really sensitive person. We get overwhelmed, right? Part of the deal, get overwhelmed. We shut down. This is one of the things that we do because of that. And we start Googling about, searching for, how do I stop this, right? How do I stop feeling so much? How do I stop this overwhelm of feeling all of these emotions and energies and things? I don't want to feel them. They don't feel good. These other people are toxic. How can I help myself? So we try to combat overwhelm with shutting down, basically. And the tools that we're using are, in some way, they're shutting down. Basically, what we try to do usually is we start shielding and protecting ourselves. So we start calling in outside protection to protect us, and we start putting up shields, bubbles, protective force fields around ourselves to try to protect ourselves from the energy that's around us. Well, that seems like a good idea, right? Seems like a good idea. The other things that we do are we just stay away from people. We use our coping mechanisms to kind of distract us enough to not have to feel what is there. So we use our coping mechanisms, food, alcohol, drugs, shopping, sex, TV, and media, so many things, right? Whatever your mechanism is, you know what you're doing. And so we start incorporating these different tools to try to basically manage our condition, which is not actually serving us. Because we want to be open. We want to make a conscious decision to be open, actually. And when we're overwhelmed and we can't handle what's going on in our world, then we shut down and we're not open. As a part of our spiritual development, it's part of our personal development. As we go through the world, we want to be more open. We want to be more conscious. We want to have more awareness so that we can understand ourselves, we can understand other, we can understand the world, we can be active participants in the world, and we can contribute. So what we're trying to do to manage our sensitivities isn't actually working, because it's actually contracting and collapsing us, right? It's shutting down. It's, I need protection. I'm not safe here. I need a force field. And that force field is really only as strong as the energy behind it, your energy. And if you're not working on it all the time, then it's not really a thing. It needs to be coming from this radiance that you're building inside of yourself. And if you're trying to do that work of shielding without having a radiant center and being radiant inside yourself, it doesn't actually really work. Okay, it's exhausting, and it just is going to exhaust your system, actually collapse your energy, and it will let more stuff in. It's kind of a crazy thing, but this is the truth. I'm here to tell you. So we don't really need this like shield and protection, but we need this self-generating field from building our internal light body. And that is something that we work on and we practice and we develop with skill over time. And then we don't have to worry so much. We don't have to be like, oh my gosh, am I okay? Do I need an angel? Do I need this protection? Do I need this necklace and shield and everything else? That stuff can be fun. I totally agree with you, but we don't necessarily need it. So we also need to be clearing, letting go, removing the blockages inside of ourselves, and being more open, right? When we are completely shutting down and shutting everything down, trying not to feel, I just wish I would not feel, so I'm just going to use my coping mechanisms and not feel anything because that is what I really want. We're not opening ourselves to actually moving the energy out that is stagnant, that is causing us to feel so horrible in the first place. We want all of this energy to be moving inside of us, moving through our tissues and our organs and everything else, so that when we come in contact with the energy that's outside of us, that is from someone else in a situation, it can come, we can recognize it. Oh, hello, you are angry and you are fearful. And I recognize that and I understand that. And it's moving right along. It's not in me. It's not me. It's not a part of me. You see, when we add these pieces of this radiant inner light, clearing ourselves and opening, and also inquiry work, looking at ourselves, looking at our childhood wounds and our trauma, emotional processing, doing that in a healthy way, then we can step into an expanded awareness. We can step into a higher state of health and well-being, and letting those energies and feelings be read, understood, and letting them pass right through, which actually doesn't happen when you just shut down or you're just trying to protect yourself. It's almost like you're like this, right? And this creates more of this coming in instead of this actually is radiant, and that stuff isn't coming in as much. I hope that this is making sense to you. If we want to be conscious, we can't collapse. So we want to be conscious. We want to be aware. We want to be spiritually conscious and aware. We want to be intuitive and have understanding, receive messages, and we want to have understanding of ourselves. And if we're doing that, we don't want to collapse. We want to remain open. We don't need a shield. We are open and it works. It's okay to be open. You know, the expansion of consciousness is not an outward journey, it's in me. And so we have to feel all of the shadow parts of ourselves, the pain and the discomfort, the fear, the doubt, everything that's in there, we have to feel it. And the world at large, the world outside of you, the toxic people you come in contact with, they are there to teach you, to inform you, to be a mirror to what's in you that you didn't know was there, and to give you the expansion of consciousness that you're actually looking for. So if you're unwilling to go into this stuff, right, you're also unwilling to be present with these higher realms of consciousness. I see people all the time who really want to be connected to the upper realms, to spirits, to guides, and so on. But they don't want to go into their own depths. They don't want to go into their own shadows. They don't want to go into the things that are there that are painful. And if the world is painful, if the world outside of you hurts you because you feel too much, that is a signal that there is a world inside of you that hurts. And it wants to be acknowledged. It wants to be worked with. And there are parts that need healing. And if you are constantly trying to protect yourself from the world because it's hurting you, then you're missing out. Now, this isn't to say if you're in an abusive situation, if you're in a really toxic relationship or a toxic work environment, you shouldn't get out. You absolutely should change your experience if you're in something toxic and that is hurting you. What I'm talking about is the world is very painful to me. Though the lived experience of life in most of my relationships is very painful to me. Doing my work, my sacred work. So say, for example, you're a healer or you're whatever you're doing is your sacred work. My sacred work is painful for me because I feel too much and I can't thrive in that work. I can't evolve and grow and get bigger. I can't make more money because I can't take on more clients. That is a great signal to go, oh, okay, there's some stuff there. Let's work on that. So this is how we can expand consciousness, right? Because the expansion of consciousness is being aware of self as much as it is being aware of the universe or the sacred. Because there truly, at the end of the day, there is no separation between those two things. You are that. So whatever's in the way of you being in contact with the sacred is what we want to look at. And so this is the exciting exploration that we get to go on. This exciting exploration of being human, of having things happen, pain, trauma, abuse, neglect, of feeling too much, of being very sensitive, hypersensitive, hyper vigil of your environment, hyper aware, of feeling too much, having too much sensation in the body, too much emotion, too much energy, that may be manifesting as different kinds of illnesses, feeling overwhelmed, wanting to shut down. And then hopefully, maybe you will sit with, wait, what is this actually trying to teach me? How is this here to help me evolve as a spiritual being? How is this helping me in my spiritual personal development, in my healing journey? How is this helping me to train me in a way? Because if you are sensitive, you are here for a purpose to contribute, to be a voice for compassion, for love, for collaboration and community. To help others, to be healers, to be guides, to be supportive mentors for people. And if your sensitivities are taking you out, then there is a problem here. Because there are ways to become clearer and more vibrationally aligned with your higher self, with your higher aspect of being. And that's what we want to look at, is what are the tools and practices that you're putting into place to give you access to stopping the spiritual gymnastics of trying to protect yourself, stopping the coping mechanisms that are keeping you stuck in a place that you don't want to be, and stopping the rejection of your purpose and your mission in living a bigger life, so that you can try to, manage this condition of being sensitive and being an empath. Look, I get it. I really get it. It confronts us to no end to realize these things about ourselves and to take this path of development, healing, and mastery that's required of shifting some of these beliefs around trying to protect ourselves as an empath and trying to control the world as an empath so that it doesn't affect us, instead of completely focusing on ourselves so that we can be open and do our sacred work. That was a lot in a short period of time. So I hope that that was helpful and it got some juices flowing of some thoughts of things that maybe are interesting to you. And I am going to be doing some more videos. And the next one is on how that we are being poisoned actually as an empath, and what that's all about, and what are the deeper energetic understandings of the poisoning of the empath, and looking at illness, shame, dysfunctional relationships, all the things that we end up falling into. And how do we get out of there? Help. All right, I'm Catherine Bird, and I would love to hear from you in comments or messages, or however you want to do it. I would love to hear from you as to any light bulbs that went off, or anything that you feel like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And maybe this is someplace you've been, or you see yourself, or you're making this inquiry about. All right, have a blessed day.